Hi everybody, it's Kurt. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to talk about some hardware, and what I've got here is my Virpil Warbrd base, Virpil Warbrd stick, and we'll also talk a little bit about the Virpil Constellation handle. So Virpil uses these interchangeable handles, which is one of the things that makes it of interest to me. I don't normally talk hardware because I've been a flight simmer for a very long time, and I have over the years collected some very nice hardware, and I know that a lot of my viewers are kind of new to the hobby, and so some of the things that I'm using is above, I think, what most people are willing to get into early on. Virpil in particular is a brand that you should save until you're certain you are into flight simming for the long haul. And the reason is that it takes a long time to get this equipment. For the last couple of years, they've been behind on production. So lead times of 4 to 6 weeks or so are not unusual at all when you place an order. You should know, though, I can tell you I've got at least 4 different large orders that I've made with them over the years, and they always take longer than I want them to, but my stuff always shows up. And I've seen people on their forums say that they think they're being scammed and things like that. And this is because they're in Lithuania and not here in the United States. And, I think we all know that a lot of people in the United States believe that the only country that knows how to manufacture things is the United States. That's not true. Anyways, they are a good operation. They make superior quality products, and your order will take a while, but it will show up. And it will be worth every penny you paid, by the way. This is not a sponsored video. They have not asked me to review this stuff. This is all stuff that I've bought with my own money over the year. Well, actually, everything you're going to see today I bought within the last 6 months, but was all bought with my own money. As many of you know, I'm in the middle of trying to move, and so that's why you haven't seen videos from me in a while, and it's also why this one is ad hoc. I don't have a script. I don't have anything. I'm just kind of sitting here with the parts in front of me, and I'll show them to you. So the reason for this build, originally, I bought the Warbrd base and the Warbrd stick. The reason I chose that is that I got these to get into flying helicopters. Now, I had an old CH Products fighter stick that I've been using for 25 years, and it's a great stick. But it uses the old potentiometers so that it doesn't have the fine control that you see in the newer sticks that are using the Hall sensors. For those of you that don't know, a Hall sensor is just a magnet, basically, and a sensor. And so when the magnet moves past the sensor can determine where that magnet's at, and that's how it sees the position of the stick. It's way more accurate. It doesn't have any moving parts other than the stick itself, so they don't tend to wear out, and much higher resolution. So anyways, I picked the Warbrd stick because it was the least expensive stick in their line, and I didn't want to get into a big complicated stick. I wanted something really simple for flying helicopters. All I really needed was trim, view hat, and a couple other basic features. Let me unscrew this real quick. By the way, you can, when you mount these sticks, you can put them offset a little bit if you want. There's lots of customizability to how you set your system up. Anyways, let's pull this stick off of here. We'll get the base out of the picture for the moment. I have a couple screws out of this so that I can open it up quickly later and not have to waste your time with that. So this is based, it's similar to the joystick you would find in a F4 Phantom or an F86 Sabre, but it's actually, people suspect anyways that this is actually molded from a Russian helicopter joystick. I forget which exact helicopter, but the design is basically the same. And of course, over the years, it's not uncommon for Russia and the United States to copy each other's ideas when they're good. So this was a good basic stick in the early days, and still holds on to this day in many, many aircraft. So anyhow, what you get, you've got a 8-position view hat here. Pardon my shaky hands. I'm nervous. I never do this kind of stuff. So this is an 8-way hat with a push, which is great. Separate button over here. You can program any button on this thing to do anything you want. Actually, you could have it be a mode shift or something. This LED can be programmed to go to different colors for different modes or whatever you might want to connect it to. On the side here, you have a 4-way. Plus a push, which is great. One of the things I love with the Virpil sticks is all of the hats have a push function. it opens up so many extra buttons for things when you do that without having to clutter up the stick too much. The trigger on the front is two-stage, so you actually have an initial click and then a second one if you go a little further. I don't know if you can hear that second one. Kind of holding it off camera there because I'm putting it by my better microphone. Anyway, so that's dual function. The people who are into combat flight sims use that. I don't get much use from that particular function, but if it's important to you, it's there. The only other button on this one is a pinky button here, which is a little bit of a reach, but I kind of like that for things where I don't want to accidentally trigger that. It's got you got to want to hit that guy, and that's actually useful in some cases. So I like that. So anyways, this is the one I've been using for flying helicopters right-handed and for anything where I'm doing a HOTAS type setup, which I still use my CH Pro throttle. I haven't found a throttle from anybody recently that, a HOTAS type throttle that I like. So I'm sticking with my old CH equipment there. But as I got to playing with this and I came to like the movement of the joystick base, which we'll look at in a minute, I realized what I really wanted to have, though, was a left-hand one also, so that if I'm flying something like a Cirrus or an Airbus or anything else that has a left-hand side stick, I'd have a way to emulate that and still be able to use my my Honeycomb Bravo throttles with my right hand. So I thought, well, gosh, now I've got this stick that can accommodate multiple handles, so if I can get a left-handed one, I could do that and still use my Honeycomb to get all the features that that's got. So I figured eventually they'd probably make a left-handed version of this. But what really happened was right after I bought it, this stick appears to have gone out of production. It's not on their website anymore. So I don't know if they're discontinuing it or if they just have gone out of production temporarily for parts or something like that. No idea. But anyway, the idea of getting a left-handed one evaporated. So I started thinking about what I could do, and they have the Constellation is available in right or left hand. And this is a little more stick than I really wanted to dig into originally, honestly. It's pretty big, dude. It's got a lot of features. But now that I have it here and I've used it, this is my favorite joystick I've ever owned. It's fantastic. And this is the lower end one. This one actually... So this one and the Warbrd are both plastic, but it's really high quality stuff. I'm not the kind of guy who can touch plastic and tell you exactly what type of plastic it is, but I can tell you it's solid, it's chunky, and it feels really nice. So I don't know exactly what it is, but it's good stuff. As you can see, it's got buttons for just about anything you could ever think of. And if there's no button for it, there's probably a lever. So we'll go through them. This one is an analog stick, similar to like you'd find on an Xbox. I use it for panning my view around when I'm in the plane, not for snap views. I have this one to do snap views if I just want to take a quick look left or right or up or down. This one is to pan my view, which I think is really handy. You know, with the left hand, it actually works really nicely. Each of these has a push function. Like I was saying, all of their hats have a push function, which just makes them super cool. So you can push on those. There's a push function on this one as well. So what I did is this one, the push function serves to recenter my view. If I've been looking around with my pan, I can just quick click that and it takes me back to looking straight ahead out of the airplane. Anytime I get a red button, I use that as my autopilot, but of course these are assignable as anything you want. I use this guy for trim, up, down, left, right. This one I haven't even decided what to do with. But the main thing that I like is the scroll wheel here. In Flight Sim, I use that for zooming in and out, which is great. You know, when you're trying to look at a display or something on your dashboard, you can just I'll use the pan to pan myself to it and then just zoom in and click this to just reset back to my normal flight view. Very, very slick setup. Another 4-way hat over here, plus click. So again, always a click there. On the side, you have this switch, which on most fighter joysticks, this would be COM1 is up or COM2 is down to talk on either frequency. So what I do is I use it similar to that. So if I push upward, that would be if I'm talking to VATSIM or whatever. Pushing down is to talk to BATC if I'm using that. so I don't have the two buttons interfering with each other when I do my configurations. It also has a push straight down, which I haven't decided what I want to do with that yet, but it's there. You have dual triggers here. So this forward position on this forward guy counts as a button, as does the back position on it. And then it can pull back further to activate a third button. So this guy's actually 3 switches in one. I don't know what sort of fancy tricks you fighter pilot guys might come up with for something like that, but I was thinking when I'm flying things like gliders, that'd be kind of a nice place to have my, the air brake, the spoilers. Just push it forward or pull it back to the first notch or whatever, and that would deploy spoilers. And just like the other stick, this is a 2-position switch here too, which is cool. Again, I don't know what you fighter guys would use that for, and I haven't decided what I want to use it for, but it's there. This one, in a fighter, this would be your brakes, your wheel brakes. What's cool about this is it's an axis, just like the analog stick or the main motion, but it's also a button. So as you pull it back, when you get about halfway or 3/4 through the travel, it actually counts as clicking a button. If you want, you can use that button to activate things. So what I did, since I don't really fly fighters too much, I use the button function on this rather than the axis, and it serves as a toggle for my emergency brakes, or parking brakes, if you like. What else do we have? Oh, and again, a pinky button here, just like the other one. And again, it is a bit of a reach, but you can get to it. So it's nice if you want to have something that you're not accidentally ever going to press. It could be a weapon release or, all sorts of things. I think in most fighters, I think that would be your steering toggle, nose wheel steering. Anyhow, and it has an adjustable wrist base here, which is nice. If you have a larger or smaller hand, you can just, wheel this up and down to wherever you need it to be. It moves quite a lot. I'm not going to move. You have this little lock screw here, and I've got that exactly where I want it. So I'll just crank that right back down, and that'll be just right for my hand again. So this has been an amazing stick. I'll get you prices for both of these in the description, but since I'm kind of ad hocing my way through this video, I don't really know for sure off the top of my head what the price was on this. It ain't cheap, though. So anyways, that covers both of the stick handles, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the base as well. So I've already removed most of the screws here, so I can do this quick without wasting a lot of your time. It's designed to be... I thought I already loosened that guy. I guess I didn't. It's designed to be fully customizable, and so there's no violation of your warranty for opening this thing. They expect you to. And then we have on the end this little plate, which I've already taken the screws out of, and it just has like a 8-pin connector in there. You just sort of gently wiggle it back and forth, and that pops out like that. Actually, so you can see there those pins. Hopefully those are focusing. I'll find out when I watch this back. I don't have any way to monitor what the camera's seeing when I'm doing this, so if I'm slightly out of frame, my apologies. So anyways, this piece then slides off. I already had the bottom piece off. And you can see this is all nicely machined aluminum. Super high quality stuff. And it's got mass. The reason that you can customize this is these little cams, the way they work is as you move an axis, the bearing rolls along these cams, okay? And that serves as sort of providing the resistive force to left, right, up, down. In this case, these cams have a slight center detent, so it does tend to want to recenter itself. But it's not a severe type of thing, and it doesn't feel clicky when you move through the center position. It's just enough to hold it there. The stick comes with a deeper detent if you like to have a firmer center, and it comes with a set that has no detent in the middle, as well as, because they make these for the space sims like Elite Dangerous or what's that other one? Star Citizen. You may want to have a really smooth movement because, it's not aerodynamic. So they have different curvatures to these cams as well. So when you get the set, or when you buy the kit, well, it's not a kit. It comes assembled. But it comes with the extra cams if you want to have a different feel on these. And it also comes with 3 sets of springs. All of the springs that came with it are heavier than I wanted. But one of the guys on the forums there has put together, he plays, I think he's a DCS guy, and he's done whole write-ups on everything you can do in here. And he suggested for a lighter spring, this little Hillman screen door spring that you can get at Lowe's in the United States, or once you know the size, you know, you can source it through whatever stores you have available in your hometown. The spring just pops off the end here, and you can put your new spring in there. So this is quite a lot lighter spring force than any of the three that come with it. And I would show you all the stuff, but I've already packed it for our move, so sorry. But the other option you have also is you could just remove the spring. I know a lot of helicopter guys like to have no spring force on there, and so that's an option too. That just pops right off. They make another base, in fact, the newer version, that just has a switch on the exterior that you can disconnect the springs from there. So you could, you know, if you want to fly helicopters on one flight and then go into an airplane where you want springs, it's just, you just set this little screw or spring and it just pops it right in. Pretty cool feature. What else to talk about here? The clutches. Here and here are adjustments for Allen wrench, and they're the same size as these dudes. So you go just down into this hole and it engages with it. For helicopters in particular, it's handy because you can set it so that if you're not running springs, you can clutch it to where it'll just, when you move it, the stick will just stay there. In my case, since I do use the springs, what I've done is I set the tension so that this doesn't wobble back and forth. Like, I don't like when my controls, give me a second here and I'll reconnect this and show you. So it takes a little practice to get quick at doing this, but once you know how it works, it's really very easy. Like I was talking about earlier, you can actually have that offset slightly if you want, which I do when it's in my actual installation. So what I don't like is if you go and it goes wah, 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 like joysticks do. So I have just enough clutch force on this so that when I release it, it just goes right back to center and stops. Same thing on this axis. Well, actually it's downhill that way, so it didn't really work, but you can see it doesn't wobble back and forth. Like if I loosen that up, it'll act like every other joystick you've ever seen. Hope that was the right axis. I don't think it was. Did I do? Might have done that. Yeah, see that wobbled. Let me get the stand in here so it's. Yeah, see that's how joysticks normally behave, and it's fine, but I don't like it. In a real plane, they don't do that. So you just adjust these a little until you get exactly what you want, if you want anything at all, or maybe you like it to spring back and forth. Am I adjusting the right one? No, I'm adjusting. I always lose track of which one of these does which. So it's this one for roll. Yeah, that's better. There it is. So anyway, and then I'll have to reset this later on. I'm not going to waste too much time messing with it right now. Apparently I am. I'm going to do it right now. I can't stand to leave it alone. Okay, that's better. All right, so not much else to talk about with this guy. I just wanted to show you the kit. I keep calling it the kit because of all the things it comes with. It comes assembled, don't worry. Wanted to show you what you get in the package, what you're getting from those guys when you give them your money, and reassure you, if you ever decide to buy from them, that you will get what you ordered. Again, this is all stuff that I bought with my own money, and they have not asked me to say these nice things. I genuinely do just like their stuff this much. So, hope you enjoyed that. I hope to get back to making normal videos in hopefully a month or 6 weeks. Everything's delayed because the real estate market in the U.S. is just a mess, and it's taken us a long time to get our house sold to do the move that some of you know that I'm doing. And once we get repositioned, I'll be back to doing regular content. But I figured I'd check in, let you all know that I'm still alive and well, and show you some of this equipment I picked up over the summer. Oh, shout out to all you. I'm still getting subscribers, even though I'm not putting anything out there. So I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed, even in the absence of anything from me, and to the rest of you that have held on during this slow period. It should be coming to an end in not too much longer, and we'll get back to some regular content. Anyways, thanks for swinging by. Hope you have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.